Okay, so this is our lesson for today. It's solving equations using addition and subtraction. And so today we're going to learn about how to create and balance equations which model real-world situations. So dealing with equations is just all about balance. Like if you think about balancing, if you have 4 plus 1, that is the same as 5. So they balance each other out. So on here, on these models, we just want to look at these, and they're good examples of how to look at these equations. So first of all, we see we have an x, and then we have 3 negatives on the left-hand side and 4 negatives on the right-hand side. And we want to get all of the numbers to one side. Variables like to be isolated. They like to be loners. They like to be by themselves. So your goal is always to get everything away from the variable. So we need to get everything away from this x. So in order to do that, we need to figure out what can we do to cross out the -3, to get rid of -3 on that side. And we can add 3 positives, which then cancels that out. So they each cancel each other out on there. But I have to remember whatever I do to one side, I always have to do to the other. So I need to add 3 positives to the other side. And then I can see what I can cancel out. I can cancel out 1, 2, and 3, but there's still 1 left. So my answer would be that 1, which is a negative. So it would be -1. Okay, so if we look at this one's just opposite side. It doesn't really matter which side the variable's on. You just always have to equal it. So this one has 5 negatives on the left, and then it has our x and 2 positives. So again, I want to get my x alone. The variable wants to be alone. So I'm going to cancel it out by adding 2 negatives to that side, which those 2 cancel out. And then whatever I did to the one side, I have to do to the other. So I'm going to give the other side 2 negatives. And over there, nothing can cancel out because they're all negatives. So I'm just going to count them, and I have 7 negatives. So that would be what my answer is. Okay, this example. The melting point of a solid is the temperature at which the solid melts to become a liquid. The melting point of the element bromine is about 19 degrees Fahrenheit. This is about 57 degrees more than the melting point of mercury. Which of the following equations can you use to find the melting point of mercury? What is the melting point of mercury? So out of all these equations, we can use the x plus 57 equals 19 to solve it. And then remember, to solve it, I want to get x by itself. So I'm going to have to subtract 57 from that side with x, and then also subtract 57 from 19, which ends up being -38 degrees Fahrenheit. Okay, in equivalent equations, A equals B, A plus C equals B plus C is the addition property of equality. 2 equations are equivalent equations if they have the same solutions. And also, A equals B, A subtract C is equal to B subtract C if 2 equations are equivalent equations if they have the same solution. So basically, if it's equal on both sides, then they are equivalent. So let's solve this one. So we have x subtract 5 equals 1. So remember, my goal is to get my variable by itself. It wants to be isolated. So I need to get rid of that -5. So in order to cancel it out, I'm going to add 5 to that side. But since I did that, I have to do that to the other side, add 5. So -1 plus 5 equals 4. And how can I be sure? I can plug that 4 in for x, and then 4 subtract 5 does equal -1. Okay, let's look at this one. Z plus 3 over 2 equals 1/2. So I need to, again, get my variable z by itself. So I need to move that 3/2. So I need to subtract 3/2, and then since I did that on the left side, I have to do it on the right side. So 1/2 subtract 3/2 will equal -2/2, which is really just -1. And am I sure? Yes, I can plug in that 1 to -1 to that equation. Okay, the next one, w plus 13.2 equals 10.4. So again, w needs to get by itself, so I need to move that 13.2. So since it's positive, I need to do the inverse, which is -13.2. And then I'm going to subtract the 13.2 from the 10.4, which ends up being -2.8. And I can double check that by throwing the w into that equation. -2.8 plus 13.2 and it equals 10.4. Okay, this one, solve this equation. X subtract 5, 6 equals negative 1, 6. So again, x needs to get by itself, so I need to do the opposite of negative 5, 6 and add 5, 6 to that side, which I'm going to add 5, 6 to the other side, which ends up being, if I add 5, 6 to the other side, it's negative 1 plus 5, 6, which is 4, 6, which reduces down to 2/3. Okay, next, a company has a profit of $750 this week. This profit is 900 or more than the profit P last week. Write an equation that can be used to find P. So we have 750 equals P plus 900. So again, to solve this, I would want to subtract 900 from both sides. So 750 subtract 900 equals negative 150. And you have negative 1 point after level 2 of a video game. Your score is 24 points less than your friend's score. Write and solve an equation to find your friend's score after level 2. So to write this, we would say negative 1 equals my friend, I guess, T, subtract 24. So again, I want to add 24 to both sides. And so 24, positive 24 subtract 1 would be 23. So my T would equal 23. All right, so this line graph shows the scoring while you and your friend played a video game. Write and solve an equation to find your score on level 4. So if we have you and your friend, so if we have at 1, they were, you are green and your friend is blue. So at 1, you were down 10, your friend was up there. So at level 4, we have 3, then 4 would be, what would we do to write that equation? So we could write negative 8 equals S subtract 33. So the score after level 4 is 25 points. All right, so we're going to end at that.